Hi everyone, I'm Darth Bribewood, and today I thought I would do a response video to James Rolfe's Are the Special Editions of Star Wars Bad? Overall, I would say yes, the special editions of Star Wars are bad. For many reasons. For the changes, some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are nice enhancements to the visuals of Star Wars. While they look dated today, because of the CGI, and how far CGI has come in the past 20 years since a lot of those models were put into the movies, what is the main reason that makes the special editions so bad? Well, I have my despecialized editions of Star Wars right here. Yes, I did get these illegally at Comic-Con. I didn't get them the way Harmy wants us to get them. But you know what? I'm not good with file formats. Okay, that's not true. Look. Okay, I was lazy. And it wasn't high on my priorities list. Okay? I saw an opportunity to get them, and I grabbed it. I was unaware of the various ways you could get them on Blu-ray and download. I tried the download way, and it confused me. I tried getting the tutorial video, it confused me. So this is kind of a confession of, yeah, Darth Bribewood's kind of a lazy D-bag. I said it, not anyone else. I'm a bit of a lazy douche. But anyway, I'm very happy with this box set overall. I will be getting replacement discs that are more legitimate. Now, whether or not I put this somewhere else or make room in my collection so that I can properly store the unaltered versions on Blu-ray in a way that makes it work with the Blu-ray box set and The Force Awakens, whatever that will be, it'll be. I might just keep this thing, but whatever. Point is, I'm glad I own the despecialized versions of Star Wars, because while this box set is very nice, I like the packaging of it, and I'm aware Harmy's version is different. I gotta admit, this is beautiful packaging. My friend Julian loves the chipboard of it, but yeah. Got episode 4, episode 5, episode 6, all that jazz. So, why does this box set piss me off? Well, if you see my previous 2 videos on why I am angry at this box set, it's because the unaltered cuts are not on here. I stated time and time again, how could I forget my main example I used for arguing why you could put all the alternate versions in this box set of Star Wars? Forgot my main example. Let me get it. You'd be amazed at what a little reshelving does for your collection. Makes it a lot easier to organize. So, I pointed this out with the King Kong movie. How both versions of King Kong were on one Blu-ray disc, containing the theatrical and extended cut of King Kong. Now, if they wanted to have an uncompressed version of it, because obviously to put 2 versions of a movie that's extremely long, I might add, you have to, forgot another example, you have to compress the hell out of the files to do it. So, while these may not look as amazing as an uncompressed version, like I'm sure the new 4K version of this movie looks far better than the Blu-ray, primarily because it is using a 3-layer Blu-ray disc that's like 128 gigs, which is amazing in terms of storage capacity. Yeah, they can do that. But why do the special editions suck? From an official standpoint, if you did not get the despecialized edition of Star Wars, you were stuck with these, or VHS, or Laserdisc. But if you were lucky, prior to the despecialized edition, you get this and all that. For the longest time, I was somewhat satisfied with these, because at the time I had a JVC tube from 2001. So these looked fine on that. The special editions and the theatrical cuts of Star Wars I could watch simultaneously, be the same aspect ratio. But I noticed something. These would not fit a widescreen TV properly. I had to buy a couple of different players to get this to my liking. And even when I did buy the different players, you can't properly watch the unaltered versions of Star Wars unless you download Harmy's Despecialized Edition, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous that George Lucas felt he had the right, oh, I created it, so I can do whatever I want with it, without taking into consideration that the Star Wars movies that were released in the 70s and the 80s are the versions that, I swear to God, I made this fucking argument so many times, I'm getting sick of making it, but you know what? It's the goddamn truth of an argument. Star Wars, the original Star Wars, was nominated for Best Picture. And it could have won. And it should have won, if I'm gonna be frank. Had it won for Best Picture, I wonder if he ever would have altered it. I think maybe not winning Best Picture fucked with him mentally, to the point where he was ashamed of the unaltered versions and hated them and never wanted to touch them and wanted them to be gone and buried. As a Star Wars fan, my initial viewing experience of these fucking movies were the special editions from 1997. Harmy's viewing experience was the same thing. So when he viewed them, he viewed the special editions first. Then he went back, he's like, wait, what? There were other versions? There's an entirely different version of effects? He felt lied to. And you know what? For the longest time, I didn't give a shit. I swear to God, I think I've said this. At one point, I almost thought about throwing the bonus discs away. I do not remember what within me said, don't throw them out, but I tip my hat off to whatever's said to me in here, or something internally said, don't throw those versions out. Because when I did further research later in my life, I realized how screwed over I was as a Star Wars fan. But anyway, the point of this video is to demonstrate and explain to you why, as a Star Wars fan, I am angry. I have here several releases that have extended or director's cuts, or what are known as final cuts. If you're a Blade Runner fan, you probably know where this is going. I already mentioned King Kong, and if I wanted to, I could mention Lord of the Rings, but I do not own the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings. I do, however, own Blade Runner, one of my favorite movies of all time. There are 5 different versions of this movie. You have the final cut on one disc in a beautiful digibook set. You have 3 more versions of this amazing movie, and a 5th version known as the work print cut. I haven't even watched the work print cut yet, because one thing I love about this box set is that it shows you what this Star Wars box set, what the official Blu-ray set should have been. the unaltered versions, the 97 versions, the 2004 versions, all in this box set. Yes, it would have been 12 discs, but Ridley Scott did it, and George Lucas could have done it. And some of the cuts aren't even that different from each other. The theatrical cut and the international theatrical cut are pretty much the same cut. The international cut has a couple more seconds of violence, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is it provides you, as an audience member, as a viewer, as a consumer, a different way to experience a movie you love. That's the idea of a director's cut or an extended cut of a movie. Like, let's go over the shit I've got right here. Shout Factory's amazing at this. You know, I would so love some way for Shout Factory to work with Harmy to somehow release the unaltered versions of 4, 5, and 6. Oh my god, a Shout Factory version of Star Wars, the unaltered cut. Oh my god, that would be fucking amazing. But okay, that's not happening. So what is happening? This contains a different cut of Halloween. According to this, it contains a television cut of Halloween 2. So with this, you have the theatrical cut, the television cut. Two different ways of watching a movie. I don't know why I own this movie, but it's for my point. This movie, yes, it's a piece of shit, but I wanted to give it a shot. Okay. Theatrical cut, extended cut, one release, compression. Now, yes, the compression and the artifacting that will be in this release will be noticeable, especially if you have a good TV. Theatrical and extended cut. Even this piece of shit had a theatrical and extended cut of the movie, or an alternate cut in some degree. Superhero movies have been doing this for like a decade now, consistent, like here and there. They're doing it a lot more with the DC extended universe, but that's because a lot of the theatrical cuts are overall butcher piece of shit, but whatever. Let me explain why, as a viewer, I like watching multiple versions of the same movie. I have Brazil, and Brazil gives you like 3 different ways to watch it. Spider-Man 2, I mean, gives you 2 different ways to watch it. Theatrical cut, extended cut. If you wanted to seamlessly go from theatrical to extended, you have the Blu-ray. Pretty reasonable, right? Makes a lot of sense. As a fan, I want to see different cuts of these movies and compare them. Judge for myself what version I prefer in the best quality I can get it in. Let's do this with Superman 2. Donner cut, Lester cut, both well-made DVD releases. I can choose which version I wanted to watch. If I wanted to rebuy Planet of the Apes, I could go with the uncut version of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes or the theatrical cut. If I bought that Blu-ray set, I could go with the same for Battle of the Planet of the Apes. There is an extended cut and a theatrical cut. I could choose, as a consumer, what version I want to watch. For the original Superman, for Superman the movie, you have the 1978 theatrical cut and the 2000 extended cut of the film on 2 different DVDs. And I am aware there is a better release, but sometimes you're just satisfied with your DVDs. Some things aren't like worth my time to upgrade to Blu-ray. You know, unless I see it cheap, then I might upgrade. But if I don't, then I won't. But do you see what I'm getting at here? Do you see what all these releases, okay, all of them have proven? And we're going with releases of movies that are arguably terrible. Terrible movies have an alternate cut, a better way to go from the two different cuts of the movie than one of the most important fucking movie franchises of all time, the original Star Wars trilogy. This is more of a rant response than a proper, elegant response. But you know what? I am angry as a Star Wars fan, as a man that loves movies, as a man that cherishes the art of film, as a man that can't imagine a film being destroyed, a piece of media being destroyed, because when you lose a piece of media and it's lost forever, that is a part of culture. A culture, an era of human history is lost forever. And that is so heartbreaking, because it means that that era is forgotten. Whatever it was is no more. I mean, the original Nosferatu, which I own. I own Nosferatu and Metropolis. Two versions. Two films, I mean. They are perfect examples of movies that could have been lost to fucking history, had proper care not been done for them. Nosferatu was ordered to be burned because of copyright shit from Bram Stoker's estate. Some smart motherfucker had an extra copy, and that extra copy was released through a public domain thing or re-released through Kino, which does amazing transfers of movies. Metropolis is the same. I mean, you want to talk about a movie that was overall lost to time and reconstructed in the same way that the specialized editions were, although with more sophisticated methods? It's Metropolis. One of Star Wars' inspirations, man, was saved and almost lost to history. But through a brilliant, you gotta get the Kino release of Metropolis. It's gonna explain this far better than I can, but I'm gonna do my best. They got a 16mm print, they cleaned it up, and they put it, and they spliced it in to the cleaned up footage. Yes, there's a noticeable gap. And yes, there's one little piece of footage that's lost forever. But overall, it is the complete Metropolis. You're getting a fully preserved version of a movie. Holy shit. Of a movie that's 90 years old. I want you to think about that. A movie that is 90 years old was saved and reconstructed. Now, why do I think the special editions are bad? Fortunately, we as consumers, as fans, as fanatics of the Star Wars franchise, were smart enough to somehow get, as Jeremy Jahns puts it, Frankenstein the fucker. The despecialized versions are Frankenstein, like, stitched together versions from many different sources to save a series of films that is so important to American cinema and to international cinema and to film history. Let me tell you, and Harmy goes over this, the special editions were not the versions that won Star Wars best editing. It's not. It's not the version that won Star Wars Best Sound Design at the Oscars. That version is a goddamn disgrace. Any of the three versions. Well, I may like some of the changes, and I may have nostalgic feelings about the special editions. As a film fan, those altered versions are garbage. And they are garbage because of the lack of respect that these films, the real Star Wars, has gotten. You know, you ever hear the Eminem song with the real Slim Shady, please stand up? Well, the real Star Wars, please stand the fuck up. That's what I'm wanting. So yes, I would make the case that the special editions are bad. Because we gotta go back to Blade Runner for this, because Blade Runner, I swear to God, is the perfect way to do this. The previous release of Blade Runner is an even better way to do this. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another version of Blade Runner coming out like this year because of the new movie. But once again, man, you have such a beautiful release here. Such a perfect example of how to do this shit right. And you do in Blade Runner. Ridley Scott says in an introduction, it's like he's telling you one-on-one as the viewer, hey, I don't like the theatrical cut of Blade Runner. It's not my vision. You know what? For people who like it, here, watch it. You're right to watch it. And you know what? The quality of the movie, and this is a key point I want to make, the quality of the movie is going to be comparable and fair. The quality is going to be the same resolution. Maybe because they had to cram it on one Blu-ray disc, you might have a little bit of compression problem, but it's not going to be that noticeable compared to a damn DVD. What does George Lucas do to us? What did he do to us as fans? He donated a shit ton of money to charity. Yes, from a charity standpoint, he's an amazing human being. But from an artistic standpoint, what the fuck have you done? You know, I'm judging him as an artist, not as a person, as an artist. I can't believe I'm making the same damn point I made years ago. Ridley Scott, from an artistic perspective, has more integrity than George Lucas. He had the integrity to say to Warner Brothers, hey, re-release the theatrical cut of Blade Runner, the international theatrical cut of Blade Runner, the many different cuts of Blade Runner. Because you know what? I want the viewer to look at all these versions and compare and contrast them all. Because you know what? As film fans, we spark conversations about the versions of the movie. We debate. We say, hey, which version do we like more? Do we like Deckard's narration in it? Do we like the final cut with the non-narration, which makes it more like a proper artistic science fiction movie or an art house sci-fi film rather than a noir movie? I mean, that's what a good release of a movie does for the film community. That's what it can do. That's what it should do. And for George Lucas to not even try to remaster the versions of Star Wars that I say are the real Star Wars is an insult to every fan of that franchise. It spits in their face. And you know what? I'm still fucking angry about it. Because I want my children, my grandchildren, to experience a good quality version of Star Wars. I want Star Wars to be immortal. It's gonna outlive us all. It just is. Because it is that important. And when you have an edited version pushed out and shown like, hey, this is the version that was my true vision. Well, can we see the version that's not your true vision? No. Wait, George, you said the 97 cut was your true vision. Then you went back and changed it. Well, it's not really. Can you make up your damn mind? If you say, hey, that's not your true vision, can we have all the cuts of Star Wars so we can judge it for ourselves? Have debates and discussions? No, fuck you. Or no, I'm the creator, I decide. Sometimes the art becomes part of the public's conscience. It becomes part of the public. And there comes a time when your work is so influential that you have to share it. Well, he has shared it, but not the proper way. Not the way Scott did it. Tell me, if George Lucas, in the case of re-releasing Star Wars, was a Ridley Scott instead of a George Lucas, would we be even having these discussions? Would we even need these specialized editions that Harmy and his friends painstakingly made? No. Because we would see an artist that has the courage to say, you know what? I'm not proud of these versions, but I want you to see them and judge it. Because that's what keeps movies interesting. The discussion, the debate, the intriguing thrill of the debate. And when you take that away, you kill a part of the movie experience to me. You kill a key part of the movie experience. Of what it means to enjoy a movie, if there are multiple cuts of it. But now, because I have the despecialized edition, I can have these debates. I can now have these discussions. I can now judge the special editions and compare and contrast them. But you know what, George? You know what, Fox? You know what, Disney? Had you released it, you would have gotten my fucking money. I paid $30 at Comic-Con for those versions. I'm willing to pay $45 to get better versions of those movies. With a better menu system, with better disc art, with better case art. That's money you're throwing away. This is Darth Bryboy, signing off. Live long and prosper. I think I've made my case.